Finally, hello. Today we have the Lunar Beauty and Lower League Los Angeles collab palette, the full fantasy color palette that was actually released on the Lunar Beauty website. This might still be on the website. I'll check that and put that in the description below. On the back it says, "Hey fools, it's your faves, Manny and Laura, and we finally did it. Say hello to the full fantasy collection. We felt this collection was the perfect unity of our brands with the neutral maximalism aesthetic. We hope you love it as much as we do. Manny MUA and Laura Lee." Look how pretty the gold reflect and writing on that is. It's so pretty. Y'all, I was starting to give up hope with Lunar Beauty, and I don't know, I never got to try Laura Lee Los Angeles before it closed down. So Laura Lee's brand is closed now. I don't know if the website's still up, but I remember from quite a few months ago she had announced that it was closing and her website was having a huge sale. A lot of the stuff sold out, and I wasn't able to grab anything from it from what I remember. So I don't know if maybe there was a change in formula to Lunar Beauty because of Laura Lee's involvement in this. But the formula in here is so good. This is the first Manny MUA, the first Lunar Beauty palette that I give my stamp of approval on. Because I had tried that Moonshroom palette, and while I absolutely love the color story in that palette, I flippin' love the color story in that palette, the formula for all the shades didn't really, it just didn't fully do it for me. Like, some of the shades, they were like pretty pigmented, but quite difficult to move around with the brush. Like, even with, not even talking about like you wouldn't apply that with a finger, but like they were kind of difficult to use. Even though the color was there, the accessibility and easement of just being able to use it as eyeshadow was kind of difficult. Like, I remember saying that if the color wanted to be placed, it didn't really want to be moved around. It just wanted to be placed on the eye. So I'm really happy that I didn't think I was gonna like this palette, and that was that palette. Because then there was this other palette, and I remember what it was called. It's like some sort of earthy kind of palette. I don't remember it off the top of my head, but it had some blues in it and neutrals and a gray, and I think that palette did okay, but I couldn't see myself grabbing that palette again. I just didn't see myself thinking about that palette, so I passed it on. I think there was a few good shades in there, but overall I just was not impressed, so I passed it on, and I was like, baby, that's strike 2. So this is, I think, the last palette of his that I have, and I was expecting a strike 3, because I pulled this palette out, and I had made a post. I'm like, what do you guys want to see on my channel? And Bruce said he wanted to see a cooler palette. So I went through my collection looking for what I might consider a more cool palette. He said he was really interested in cool palettes right now. So I grabbed this full fantasy palette. This is a cool pink palette. I would consider this a cool pink palette. I'm always really scared to call something like cool or neutral or warm, because what might be cool to me may not be cool to others, or what I might consider neutral, someone else might not consider neutral, they might consider it warm. So I'm always a little, like, I want to say skeptical of like calling things in that way. But this is the palette that I pulled out for my friend Brew. He said he wanted to see cooler colors, and I think this is a cooler pink palette, which is not something you tend to usually see. So the name Full Fantasy comes, I think, from, they have a podcast together, Laura Lee and Manny MUA, called Full Coverage. I did listen to it a lot in the beginning, but lately, I think for the past 2 years, I've just been so busy, I just have not really had the time to listen anymore. So that's where that comes from. They call their, you know, their viewers the fools. It's very joke, laughy, blah, blah, blah. But I pulled this one out for Brew. So when I was going through my palettes, trying to figure out what I wanted to pull out, I pulled this one out, and I thought it would be a fun thing to use. I also thought, honestly, I thought maybe I wouldn't like this, because I've pulled some recent cooler palettes out. Thinking of maybe like the CXC Beauty palette. I pulled out a cooler CXC Beauty palette, and I just didn't feel like any of those shades fit my eyes. It didn't really make me excited. I didn't think they were like particularly pretty. But then I pulled this out. And like I said, maybe you don't consider these shades cooler. I would say this shade right here is definitely not a cool shade. Or this one. But I think the rest of the palette would count more as towards cooler shades. And there is a mirror in here. But let me flip this way. These shades down here feel very cool to me. Even these purples feel like they have more like blue in them than red. So they're cooler purples. Even the gold shades like this up here, it's a cooler gold. I think the only thing that may not be cool would be the shade right here called Fool's Gold. But we have these other browns. These browns to me feel a lot more cooler. But I still like to hear from you guys. Like, let me know down below, do you consider this a cooler palette? This shade right here too, that's a warmer palette. But I think overall this palette holds a more cool kind of aesthetic to it. So I had so much fun using this. The mattes in here blend so beautifully. They were so easy to use. I love the shimmers in here. The shimmers in here picked up and were so pretty on the eye. There's a lot of range with the pinks, the purples, the neutrals, and the oranges, the warmer random shades that he threw in here. All so pretty. You have a shade like this, which I didn't want to fully touch the shade just so you can see how sparkly it is close up. That is so pretty. Like shades like these, you can see like I really went in there. I really wanted to get those colors and they were so pretty. I'm surprised how beautiful and easy this palette was to use. So I'm keeping this one. This is staying in my collection. It is so beautiful. Alright, so let's just do some quick swatches. We'll do Cloudy because I always talk about the lighter shades and palettes. Sometimes they don't show up on my skin. Sometimes they're too powdery and they're really crappy. This is a real, you can see here, this is a really good color. Not my vibe. So pretty. I think the black in here maybe was one of my least favorite colors, just because for smoky eye purposes, beautiful, amazing. For intense black eyeshadow purposes, not a good color. If you wanted that kind of like dipping your brush into like black ashes black, you're not going to get that with this black. But this, it does turn into a very pretty smoked out black gray color. So it's not that, but still pretty. Also let's do We're Back. And I don't know, like I said, I don't know what shades in here. It might be considered more Manny or more Laura. They worked on this together. But I really like the way this formula feels. I like how easy it was to blend out. That is so pretty. All these colors show up on my skin tone, and that's what I'd be looking for. So beautiful. It just gives you those very pretty classic looks. And then for shimmers, let's do Full Fam. So pretty. Oh my god. Oh my god, so pretty. Let's do Sunny, so you can see some of these warmer colors. Oh my god, so pretty. Let's do Aries, just because I know you can see that you can see it's duochrome. So let's just get that one out of the way. And then maybe Mora, so you can see a cool toned gold. These are the best eyeshadows I've used from this brand, so I'm really happy that this came out as a positive because I was so ready to give this palette away. So I'm glad it worked out. So you can see that's Full Fam, and it's not as purple as you may think it is, but it's got kind of like a purple base, and it has some like pretty light pink kind of shift. And you have a shade like this, which isn't as sparkly, but a really just pretty metallic kind of shade. And there you have your duochrome, so pretty, your cool gold. These are just, they're not super wet, crazy looking, but they're just good, solid, traditional shimmer eyeshadows. And I'm okay with that. These are also beautiful. These all work so well. I really hope this palette stays up. I know Laura Lee is Los Angeles is no longer around, but I would say this is his best palette that I've tried. I wouldn't be surprised if this is the best palette that he has. It kind of makes me sad because I wish I could have tried Laura Lee to maybe understand if maybe a lot of the formula change that I'm seeing in this palette versus the true Lunar Beauties I've tried before, if maybe that's why it's different. But I think this is beautiful. This is stunning. I'm staying with this palette. I think it's so pretty. And I hope it fulfills your cooler color wants and the requests. I hope it fulfills that request of cooler shades. This definitely feels more of a cooler shade palette. Let me know down below what you guys think. I think this is so beautiful. I loved it. Y'all have a great day.